and welcome back to the channel. I am sure everyone has noticed the latest crazy thing that's been happening around the world. It involves some files. And although I've been aware of that happening for a very long time, unfortunately, it is very cathartic to see everyone kind of join in my crazy. But one of the things that I noticed that people are wondering about a lot is what do we do about it? Like, how do we deal with this? Because it feels insane, right? And it is. So, today I want to talk about the paradox of tolerance. One of the most interesting things about observing humanity has been noticing its patterns. It seems that both collectively and individually, we either break the pattern or we repeat it, and humanity has a tendency of repeating it. Humanity is now going through a very important tipping point because the health of planet Earth herself is on the balance. In this moment, we have to find it within ourselves to not repeat the same pattern that has been allowing evil to overtake us over and over again. Using the same methods, the same rhetoric, the same mentally ill ideology that has previously brought upon darkness and despair on all of us. I know this might sound like an exaggeration, but minimizing what's in front of our eyes due to its very deeply evil nature, it's a huge part of the problem. But we are good people, right? So we always question ourselves, how far should or can we go before we become what we are fighting against? And well, I posit that we have never gone far enough, and that is why we cannot seem to break away from this one particular pattern. And so I present to you the paradox of tolerance. So Karl Popper developed this, and he says that if we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed and tolerance with them. We know this. A tolerant society must not accept intolerance. Why? Because intolerance, when allowed, it doesn't stay quiet. It doesn't know how. It grows, it organizes, it takes power. That's kind of its impulse, right? We know this. We've seen this. Once in power, it works to destroy tolerance's weakness, right? The wokeness, whatever label that they use. And there is always a label. Obviously, humans with bad intentions don't announce it. Oftentimes, they sound really great at first, very great. They say all the nice words, they promise all the right things. But that's only at first, to trick you into thinking that they're the good guys. Then, when you are busy trying to do the right thing or just living your life with fairness, civility, intolerance is in the background, organizing, recruiting, and lobbying for the interests that align with their true intentions. And we are seeing this happening right now in many places out in the open. The mask has fallen, the veil of illusion has shattered. The only people not noticing what is going on are the ones that really don't want to. But the problem is that evil doesn't really let go of power once it has it because it can't. There's too much at stake for them. The lie must keep on running all the time. And so there's a couple of things that they will do in order to gaslight you into not holding them accountable. I'm sure so many of you watching will have some or a lot of experience with this list. So, first, they'll tell you it's not that bad. You are overreacting. You know the drill, the gaslight. Then they can turn it around. They accuse you of intolerance. You are the one being mean. You are the one that is actually the bad person in the situation for pointing it out. Then they can use your values against you. Oh, I thought you were a good person. Oh, I thought you were tolerant. So much for the tolerant left. All that stuff. Similarly, they can weaponize civility. Why are you so angry? This kind of falls in line with the gaslighting as well. It's just making you feel like the crazy person for even caring. And then, if you don't let up the way that they initially would like you to, there's one of two things that can happen. They'll either play the victim card, which they're very good at. Oh, I'm being silenced. It's cancel culture. It's where is my right of free speech? La 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 la. Or they can get very angry and then they start personally attacking you. You are ugly, or you are something. There's always something that completely switches, like it distracts from the point that you're trying to make to you are a bad person, or they use anger about it. I can think of one orange person that is excellent at the whole immediately getting violent and angry right away.
Now for the country to maybe get onto something else,
What would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare,
justice, Mr. President?
something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they have gotten
you are the
justice?
worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile in your face. You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
By the way, these are all very popular tactics used by people and systems that have a nature that is narcissistic. I know that narcissistic personality disorder has a really bad rep, and I will make a video eventually about all of these misunderstandings that we have with this, but we must really understand these tactics because they are highly used and they are the most effective tactics ever under the current systems that we have. Gaslighting, projecting, scapegoating, and DARVO. Deflect, attack, reverse victim, and offender. When you learn how to identify these, you become almost impermeable to them. But then you get to see how it's being used time and time again to immensely effective results. We need as a society to get better at detecting it, dealing with it, and then holding it accountable and having systems that don't allow that to collectively gaslight and trick us into accepting that that is leadership. Some people call it paranoia, but I call it pattern recognition. Evil counts on you to be too nice to do anything about it, to stand up to them, to try to stop them. And history reminds us of this, right? We have 1930s Germany tolerating that rhetoric as free speech. They went pretty far with it. We have Rwanda tolerating dehumanization of the Tutsis as political discourse, our right to say what we think. The US and Brazil tolerated slavery as state rights. Like back then, the laws said that this was allowed and therefore it's legal, even though it was inhumane. Intolerance doesn't really reform itself because it can only escalate. It's based on fear, hate, and control, and those things don't self-regulate. They only go bigger, right? You have to always double down on the bad emotion because humans get desensitized to feeling that. Like just biologically, our bodies are designed to adapt to our environment. And this is why we see a wild escalation on what we allow, what we accept, because that's how you take us to extremes. You slowly switch the bar of what people can accept until this is where we are. Look at where we are. I'm sure everyone is aware, not only mentally, but physically aware that things are deeply wrong and deeply disturbed and twisted right now. One of the most painful lessons I had to learn in my life was that when people show you or tell you who they are, believe them. And then act accordingly, even if sometimes it's scary AF. One of the mantras that I use to help me deal with this is Buddha Heart, Demon Hand. In Buddhism, there are these Dharma protectors. They are fierce deities who use wrathful compassion to defend the sacred. They do not negotiate with evil and what destroys, they protect unconditionally. Because compassion doesn't mean passivity. Love doesn't mean tolerance of harm. Peace doesn't mean surrendering to violence, and kindness doesn't mean accepting the unacceptable. There are limits to all of this, and here's where the paradox of tolerance comes into play. You can have infinite compassion for people while having zero tolerance for systems of harm. So some things we can do is not platform the hate, right? Because the vision that they create for the world requires us to accept it. We can be aware that that's happening, but still work towards the vision of the stuff that we want to see, right? We have to make our own reality. So don't platform the hate. Be aware, but don't feed it. Do not debate your right to exist. Do not get caught in conversations with people that have no actual interest in listening to you, but all they want to do is consume your energy and your attention so that they themselves can feel that they are valid. Set hard boundaries about that. name what it is. If you can identify it, say, please do not gaslight me, or I don't appreciate you reducing the situation. You know, you can always call out the behavior instead of reacting or responding to the behavior. And then you organize and build collective defense and the vision of the world that you do want to see, what you know is right. I believe that every human on this planet has a sort of a guardian role. We are here to protect. We are the mammals that evolved the ability to third-person observe our consciousness. And with that amazing gift comes also an amazing responsibility to protect the vulnerable, the earth, the possibility of a livable future, and our own humanity. Because we can lose that. Clearly, we can lose that, right? And this means standing firm against intolerance of any kind, refusing to debate the humanity of any group, building community around you, and not really waiting for permission to protect what you love. We have so many rules these days that act as a deterrent of doing the right thing because we are always concerned whether or not we're going to be punished by it, right? There's going to be a fine, or someone is going to tell us that we're doing something wrong. You know, there is a lot of deterrence in doing the right thing these days. At least that's what I noticed. But I think deep down, we all know intuitively, like we can feel when something is wrong. And I think a lot of that is happening right now. And we have to collectively recognize that tolerating the intolerant doesn't bring peace. It makes you complicit and a future target for when all the other targets run out. I see this vibe bubbling up in a lot of people, and it fills me with hope. So I hope you join everyone in that vibe, and I know that we can do it together because this is the way. This is the way. Nature wants this. Evolution wants this. Evolution wants us to self-regulate, to curb the behaviors and the mentalities that do not serve us in the collective. That is what evolution is about. And humans with consciousness and with our amazing wordsmithing, right? Because words are technically magic spells. You can paint any monstrous thing in the best light if you just phrase it right. But we also have to have discernment in recognizing when the words don't match the actions, you know, when the words are really nice, but the actions go very much the opposite way. And also learn from our experience, what we see, the pattern happening time and time again, generations, decades, weeks. You know, we have a daily in-stream of news that can very much muddy the waters because there's just so much happening. But if you actually focus, you can see that there is definitely a pattern there of reducing accountability, all the things that I mentioned in this video. It kind of like repeats itself because that is the only way that evil continues, if we allow it. So I hope this video inspired you to protect fiercely, to love radically, and tolerate nothing that threatens our future and the capacity that we have to build a better one. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I truly believe in your capacity for goodness, and I'll see you on the next video.